What would you price it at? 1.3? What else? Hmm? 1599? Richmond Hill, yeah. Anybody else? Like everybody else, right? They want $1.6 million. That's the motivation. Hmm?
1549.
There's no right answer. I guess nobody's answering. Okay, so all right, you got another property that's been in the market, and they're asking you $1.6 million. You've offered at 1.3. You get no offers. Now what do you do? Stay the course at 1.3 for another weekend. Yes, we do that too. Okay, so if you've got an offer date and don't get any offers, the rule of thumb is don't do anything other than take off the offer date, right? You wait over the weekend because some buyers do not want to compete. And as soon as they see the property didn't sell, you let it go for a couple of days, and then those buyers all of a sudden show up. We've seen that happen many, many times. But after the weekend they don't show up, then what do you do? Adjust it back to 1.6.
The new listing out
As at 1.6, if it doesn't work the first time, that's the goal.
1.39.
You still say leave it at 1.3 at a property 1.6?
One sold actually in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
1.399 sold for 1.6.
We had a townhouse in Pickering, and the people had bought firm already, and they had till the end of this month, I think it was, to sell their property to be able to buy the next property. And of course, you can't get bridge financing unless you have a firm offer. So the advice that we gave the agent at that time was, it's a townhouse. I don't care what condition it is. We said, just make sure that you're the cheapest complex, the cheapest townhouse in the complex. I don't care what the price was. And they said, well, this one here is smaller. This one just be the cheapest one in the complex. That's what they did, and then it actually sold. So we took out the fact that it was better than the other ones. It was in unit rather than in unit. It didn't really matter. Just make sure it's the cheapest in the complex, and it sold. So that's another strategy that we had out there, right? Anything else? So anybody happen to have any buyers? Multiple offers on the weekend. Any offers at all? Multiple offers in the last week? Anybody else? Nelson, you aware of them or?
Well, our old agent has our house for sale pick right there.
Yes.
Held off for listed at 1.299. Held off for offers, got two. They weren't very good. Stayed the course until this was last Thursday. We said keep it the same price till Tuesday. And yesterday she sold it for the number that she told. Well, it's not conditional, but
okay.
We got the number that we looked at on Thursday.
So the offer date didn't work, and then they took it off and just held it there. So yeah, so that strategy works, right?
Yep.
I did for a condo last week. 6 offers.
Okay, for a condo last week was 6 offers. All right, and what was the list price?
We listed at 499, hoping for above 6.
Okay.
I tried to push everyone to do 6 on Thursday night. No one would do it, so we accepted one just slightly under 6. The next day, 2 agents called and said, "Hey, we'll give you."
So it was too late.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's fine.
So
okay, so someone here had a property, the $600,000 condo. They listed it for $499. Nothing happened, and then they finally did sell it. And then as soon as it was sold, all of a sudden 2 other people show up and say, "Oh, we want to put an offer in." It's already sold. So sometimes the buyer wants to wait, but it was too late.
We were pretty happy with the person.
Yeah, I think the point I'm trying to make here right now is everybody wants to think how slow the market is, and it is definitely slow. Would you agree? Everybody say the market slowed down, but there's still lots of buyers out there. So what's going on? We've got Varan here. Varan, did you get in? Like what's going on in your world right now? Pre-applications or?
Yeah, getting a little bit busy. Last 2 weeks.
Okay, I've noticed that too.
I wouldn't say crazy busy, but
so you're getting yeah. Okay, so that's encouraging. Active inventory is up quite a bit. I don't know. I still think there's lots of buyers out there, but I think that the sellers have to reduce the prices. That's my thought.
Yeah.
I think that there's all kinds of buyers out there that don't qualify. They want to qualify, but they don't qualify. So they don't qualify, so their prices are going to come down.
The problem is a lot of the buyers think they're getting deals, and a lot of the sellers are still stuck at a certain price. So there's like this
trying to get them to come together,
where we got to just bring them together. So it's just a weird standoff. Kind of market.
And sometimes as a listing agent or even a buyer, you got to understand the psyche of the buyer. The buyer's reading the newspapers. The buyer's reading that prices have dropped. The person's, one article said that the buyers are leaving $300,000 on the table on pre-construction just not to close. So the buyers are reading all this stuff. They're saying, well, I'm not going to give the guy the 1.6. I'm going to give him 1.1. In fact, we had one that I think the list price was 4 million or 3.9, $3.8 million, and the first offer we went in was $3 million. All right. And if you're a listing agent and you've got a property sitting at 3.8, you get an offer for $3 million, what are you going to do? Would you?
That's what you should do.
You sign, doesn't your client get mad and rip it up in front of you and say, I'm not going to talk to this person, they insulted me. All right. I see that a lot. Don't you not?
Value. I mean, you have to
3.8 is the value.
Just so you know.
But the buyer's saying, hey, I mean the papers here that you guys are in trouble, so the buyer goes with a $3 million offer. At the end of the day, in this particular case, they actually went back and forth, and they finally settled on 3.7, but then it fell apart anyways.
Do you know why it fell apart?
And it fell apart because
another offer, competing offer.
All right, they got a competing offer and it fell apart. Okay. All right.
And the competing offer offered them what they wanted with no clean done, so they went with that instead of playing with the one that was going back and forth.
It wasn't finalized.
No. So you can't play around too much. You gotta be.
Well, I guess my point is that buyer thought he could steal a property, and that's why he went at $3 million, figuring that the market's died and everything else going on. He could try to take advantage of the situation, and it backfired on them because someone else came along and they gave the seller the price they wanted. So it's still there. Anybody do any open houses on the weekend? One? Any open houses? No.
Michael has on his list.
So you did two open houses?
Yeah.
Whereabouts?
Did a condo at Anne O'Reilly.
Condominium.
For doing that in case you got home.
You got in trouble for doing an open house?
You're not supposed to do open houses.
You're not allowed to do open houses?
At the condo at Anne O'Reilly.
Why aren't like allowed by the condo court?
Yeah, they actually have it in like their rules.
I
I put the sign up and then they asked me to take it down, so I took it down.
I've never heard that before. Where condominium doesn't allow open houses.
Very rarely.
I can see where you get a second person down there waiting in the lobby, let people in.
It's also good if moles upstairs and upstairs.
Really?
But then you would just say those people are there for a private showing.
We had 8 people through.
So 8 people came through, and you had a realtor.ca, and you had the sign. Okay, that's fine.
Someone standing there to tell
Yeah, and somebody was down the side letting them in.
And I was down.
And they still gave you a heck, right?
Well, I became friends with her. She asked for my business card.
Oh, okay. So you turned lemons into lemonade. And what was the second one?
And the second one, Alex did Marco townhouse, and then me and Clayton did it next. We had about 8 plus 6.
8 and 6. Okay. So I guess my point I'm trying to make here is that there's still buyers out there. There's buyers out there that you have to find them, right? Has anybody here advertised for like really cheap stuff? Like, let's say you want a $700,000, you've advertised it for $499 or $500,000. Do you find you get all kinds of inquiries in that price range? And the old days, what we did is we would run ads. I don't see any difference now. I'm looking at Elio here. So you run an ad in the newspaper, okay? And you know that this is how we did it back then. You had a newspaper, it could be the Toronto Sun. And we know that somebody's looking at that Toronto Sun and they're looking at this $500,000 property that's worth $650. But anyways, $500,000 property. What we do is we would take the newspaper and look at all the classified ads, and we'd circle our ad at $500,000, and we would circle all the other properties that were advertised at the same time in that same price range. And the idea was that the public is looking at the newspaper and they're phoning me on my listing. And as soon as they finish talking to me, they're going to phone the next guy on his listing. And as soon as they're done, they're going to phone the next guy on his listing. So what we would tell everybody, we'd circle them beforehand and say, yes, this is the information on this property, and likely you're probably interested in that one too. Yeah, okay, let me give you the information on that one. How about this one here? I'll give you the information on that one too. Blah, blah, blah. You understand what I'm saying? So if you know that your price is $700,000 property, you're advertising a $500,000 property, and you make those jacked up $1 million. Maybe it's a $1.6 million property and a $1.3 million, whatever it is, right? Do you have backups to the ones that they're actually calling on? I know you're trying to sell that one particular listing, but you got these buyers out there that want to buy in that price range. Do you have backup properties that you can talk to them about as they're talking to you about the property you've advertised? Everybody follow that concept? All right. So you got a buyer, and the buyer's not going to buy your property because your property's overpriced, or your property, it's a different price, but they're in the market. They want to buy something in that price range or a little bit more. Do you have a backup? Do you have that conversation with them that you're talking to? Katelyn talked about our systems for success on lead magnets. Okay. So if we know that there's 8 people showing up for a $499,000 condominium that eventually sold for 600, but still 8 people showed up based on the $500,000 condo. Do you have other condos in that price range that you could show that person? That's my thought. So going back to the system for success on what you should be doing, the lead magnets. Call me today for a list of properties for sale for less than $500,000. Oh, sorry. Okay, I see. Okay. I'm old school. Okay, old school. New school is DM me for a list of properties that they're $500,000. Right. What we also did years ago, and I'm going back to the old days here, and I survived, so the old days worked. Okay. What some guys would do, they would advertise a property, not the price. They would say, you can buy this property for $3,000 a month. You can have this property for $3,200 a month. You can have this property for $2,900. These are just numbers, right? Ask me for a list of properties you can buy for less than $4,000 a month, $3,000 a month, whatever that number is, and have those units on them. There's no buts in this conversation. So we got to think outside the box. If you're doing what you always did in the last couple of years, and you're doing the same thing that you always did, then you can expect different results because the market's changed. So you got to adjust a little bit here, right? Hey, I left it downstairs. I don't know why I did it. Okay, that's fine. So we are getting calls, just so you know, you're not by yourself. We are getting calls from agents saying, "Hey, I'm a little concerned here. I've got the market isn't what I'm used to. People aren't phoning me. The market's changed, the pricing changed. Anybody going through these emotions right now? Right? So you can sit there and feel sorry for yourself, or you can actually get out there and get going. Right? So we hopefully going to get going. Right? Open houses, what a great time. Everybody should put up their hands. Did anybody do an open house on the weekend? Only 1 or 2 people. Well, Sanic was the only one, right? I'm sure the other guys did open houses. Just not telling them. There's 20 open
on Facebook responding.
So if you're an agent that wants to do open house, look at the office listings and approach the agent and say, "Hey, can I do an open house on that property? Why not? Right? Can I do 2 open houses on the property?" I showed an agent the other day. If you go to Facebook and there's a thing called transparency. If you go to a business Facebook page and you go to, I think it's called page transparency, you can actually see what that agent has advertised on their marketplace or their booth. You can actually see all the ads that they have running. And I've talked to agents, or I've seen other agents, they'll do the Facebook ads and they'll run, one ad or one, as I said, that lead magnet I just talked about, right? But if I go to the big marketing boys, I go to the social media guys and women and men and find out what they're doing, I go to this page transparency, and rather than running 1 listing, these guys are running 75 listings or ads. Not 1, not 2, like 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. One guy counted like 70.
Yeah, you know what he does? He does coming soon, just listed and just sold, and an open house ad for every single listing. So he gets 4 ads for everything.
So this is a routine that he's got. He's written down someplace there. Every time I get a lead, what do we do now? And he's got all his social media stuff that he does, right? So think a little bit. If you're doing the Facebook ads, trying to find buyers, trying to find sellers, try to consider more than 1 ad. Right? Consider doing multiple ads, and consider these lead magnet lists. That's the direction we're going. I want to talk about this for a bunch of times, but your broker bay is really funny. Broker bay did a little funny thing, and they turned everybody's notifications off. And we've been trying to email everybody to turn your notifications on. But if you get every night around 9 o'clock, you should be getting what's called as a daily listing recap of all the office listings gets emailed to you. How many people get that? 1, 2, 3. Those people that do not get that, you have to go to your broker bay, go to your profile and change the settings. We originally had it so that you would all get these notifications, and then Broker Bay, for some reason, didn't bother telling us about it. We had to find out the hard way. They turned that off. So we had to go in there and turn it manually back on.
Yeah.
So if you're not getting daily listing recaps of office listings, go to your profile on Broker Bay and change the profile so you are getting those notifications.
I changed it and I was getting every single listing that is a price change. I was getting the new
So
listing.
that's a different category.
Yeah,
So
they're different categories. So if you want to get notified for every little change, then you click everything.
I
If
have
you,
to go on that, change it again.
yeah, if you don't like that, there's a daily listing recap
Yeah.
and it comes once a day.
Yeah,
So there's options.
next Monday, we're doing Diwali lunch, right? Just Diwali. Diwali's coming around. Did you around that? We got to figure out who's going to be doing it. Hey, somebody will figure it out anyways. Looking at Jess here and that. So anyway, so that's coming. When is Diwali itself? The 12th, and next Monday is the 12th. So it's on that day.
13th is Monday.
Oh, 13th. Yeah, 13th. Okay. All right. We're doing it on the Monday. Okay, I want to talk about okay, just one more file. I really want to talk about the Trust and Real Estate Act because there's a lot of stuff coming down, but I want to talk about some market stats first just to get that out of the way, and then we're going to talk about the Trust and Real Estate. Just so you know, as of November 5th, I know I got October numbers as well. October, they came in at 4,646 sales. The sales themselves are actually down 5.8% from October last year, and actually down a little bit from September as well. As I said before, I don't know. I said that October, I believe, was going to be the lowest month for units, not pricing. I think from this point forward, it should going higher because the interest rates have stabilized, but we'll see what happens. Total active listings, we started the month at 19,500. As of today, or actually last night, we got 20,259. So we've actually gone up about 700 listings in 1 month. But we did go from 20,600 to 19,500 on November the 1st. Why would that be?
Listings expired in another moment.
A lot of listings expired, right? So going back to 1990, a lot of people made a big living doing nothing but properties that used to be listed for sale. Right? And to be very clear, you're not allowed to identify expired listings on MLS. That's the rule. But you can certainly door knock a street. You can certainly have some friends of yours say, "Hey, my guy wanted to sell his property. He can't sell it now." You can certainly do any of that type of stuff. So that's out there, and a lot of people again made very good livings in that type of business. So if you're sitting about, if you want to be proactive, consider that being part of your talks, especially if you're in a farm area. If you're in a farm area, you want to show it every single property that's going on in your neighborhood. You want to know everything's going on there, right? So that's an area to have to look at. Months of inventory is 4.2. Everybody remember what the significance of that is? Anything over 4-to-1 ratio turns it from a seller's or break-even market to a bit of a buyer's market. So there's a bit of a buyer's market today. Does everybody else agree with that? Right, bit of a buyer's market, and buyer's market means what? The price is going down. Right. We have some sellers out there that for some reason still think that their place is worth this because whatever, right? Their place is worth that, and it's if it was worth that, it would have sold, right? So we don't put the price on properties. The public does, but average price 1.125. The average price is actually up 3.5%, and it's actually up from last month. Sales to new listing ratio is now at 32%. Anything less than 40% would be considered a buyer's market. So the sales to new listing ratio has gone down as well. So it looks to me like it's switched from a seller's market to a break-even market to maybe a bit of a buyer's market right now. But that's what we're seeing. You can play with numbers all you want, right? So we're saying here that the average price dropped at 5.8%. But this newspaper here, and it always comes from Blog TO. Blog TO seems to be very negative all the time, but anyways. The benchmark price, anybody know when I say benchmark price, you know what I'm talking about?
HPI.
Correct. HPI? HPI price dropped $20,000 from September to October. So even though the average price has gone up, the actual benchmark price has gone down. So if you're wondering why your property hasn't sold, prices are changing, right? From October, September 23 to October 23, the average prices dropped $20,000. The benchmark, right?
Some areas is $100,000.
Yeah, I'm just talking about 1 month, so I'm not sure. You think in 1 month is $100,000?
Literally, I was looking at different prices of the touches, and some areas are about $100,000.
I read one where King City, the average price in King City dropped 40%. Imagine that. No, but think about it, okay? Think about it. Some guy sold $1 billion farm last year, and some guy didn't, and they didn't sell $1 billion farm this year, so the price had dropped 40%. So the average price is you got to use it as to your advantage and disadvantage. So the average price really means nothing. Have that drop. State of the condominiums. State of the condo market, GTA Vancouver. I don't know. Despite the high carrying costs, Toronto and Vancouver are still holding on to the properties as best they can. The mortgage stress test they're saying is really hurting a lot of people. Mortgage stress test right now, Brand, what would be a good mortgage today for a 5-year fix, let's say?
5.589,
5.74. So it's still not okay. So it's not the so it's 5.5, let's say, and they have to qualify at 7.5, right? Because you read the newspaper, they're saying people have to qualify at 9%. So they're really spewing a lot of like negative things out there that you really have to read through, because it's not, you don't have to qualify at 9%. It's 5.5 plus 2. It's still bad, but but it's not as bad as they want to stay.
But the bond price is coming down.
And bond price is going down, which is a good thing, right?
Almost 1%.
They're saying here that investors are holding off, but for how long? And we do know that 50% of all the inventory for sale right now in condos is vacant or tenanted. So we know a lot of investors are getting rid of their properties now, and we're asking you to. Sorry, say that again. Government.
Because they talked about it, remember?
Yeah. There's a good thing here. Remember during we were wondering where everybody's getting their deposits, where everybody's getting the money to buy the houses, and the price is going up. We said to everybody, go to the bank of mom and dad, because that they'll help you with the down payments, right? So now in the Globe and Mail, they're saying here that home buyers turn to alternative lenders or their parents for mortgage help. So the parents are coming to the rescue again for a lot of these people that are underground. So that's good news. There's one. Tenants in. They're a little bit concerned in downtown if you got a condominium, if you're talking to your clients, and the reason why I'm saying I'm not saying this to be negative. I'm trying to give you ideas that you can talk to and try to get more business. But if you've got an investor downtown that has a condo downtown, let's say around the schools, and he's already in a negative cash flow, and he's hoping that's going to change. What I'm reading now is like students, for instance, students coming from India, not just because of the Canada-Indian conflict they got going right now, but just it's happened before we had that conflict. Indian students have dropped like about 12%. They're saying here they're expecting going to drop even more. So students, international students, coming to Canada are deciding not to come to Canada, and some of them coming to Canada are actually going back. Why? Because they can't afford real estate. Right? They can't afford now. The real estate's too much. Rent's too much. So they'd rather go to Australia. They'd rather go to USA or someplace. So that's going to drop the prices down too. So you've got an investor thinking that things are good. You might want to ask them to maybe sell that place sooner than later.
October, they rented one house for 3 guys. They've been living 15 people in there.
Oh.
Yeah.
What? Okay.
In October, 3 people were supposed to live in it. One half, but they had 15 people living in it.
The landlord didn't know.
Only
That's okay.
There's 40 GTA condos that are being put on hold because the market's taking a bit of a stop right now. So that'll increase the prices. So I'm talking about decreasing prices, increasing prices. They're controlling inventory. Mortgage payment shock looms. They're figuring that there's going to be $900 billion in mortgages set to renew in the next 3 years, and they're saying that people should plan on the rates going up about 30%. So that's what they're expecting, and yeah, and the banks are being told by the government to put money aside for these types of things. So, Toronto area homes are walking away from deposits on new homes. Some are losing as much as $300,000. So some people are put these on particularly low rises, not necessarily high rises, but the low rises people have bought and they can't get appraisals on these properties, so they're just saying take my deposit and run. They're still liable. They're still responsible for any shortfalls, but still, that's what they're doing. Some people are just walking away. Does anybody have clients like that? They're in a situation where they can't close. They're just going to walk away from the deposits. Towns?
Condo, sorry.
Condos?
Markham and else.
Okay.
So even with 5%, 10% big, you're walking away?
Yeah, they're walking away with their 20% deposits. We had one where the guy put, it was at Jarvis. I can't remember the exact details. I have to make it up. But Jarvis and Bloor condominium, new condominium. The guy put $160,000 down, and he says, "Take over the property. You can have my $160,000." In other words, an assignment and the deposit. I'll give you my deposit. You just take over the sale. The problem is it was like, I'm guessing right now, but it was a 700,000 square foot place, and the guy still wants 800,000 for it. So it's still not worth what he wants for it. It's even gone down more than 160,000. So right, so the guy's getting killed. I just found this a coincidence. They're saying here that people are walking away from $300,000 deposits and more, and then I read somewhere where 40 townhouses got burnt down in Vaughan. 40 townhomes got burnt down on the homes. Surprise. Right? What, the brand new townhouses? Brand new townhouses, and some are ready to be moved in next month, and all of a sudden they burn down.
Meanwhile, a Friday, Saturday thing.
You know when they sold, like,
these are townhouses. It would have been like a year and a half ago. Okay, let's do some Teresa stuff. Before I do that though, Fin Tracker, I talked last week about the Fin Tracker app. Did anybody play around with that, experiment with that? No, Fin Tracker. It's a Fin Tracker app. So you download this app, and then if you're going to do Fin Track somebody, you just have to, with the app, you scan their driver's license, and it partially fills out the Fin Track for you. And you fill out the rest online, and then you can save it, and away you go. Did you try it, Maddie?
I didn't try it yet.
No, but you download it, right? So one person downloaded. I know that. Why wouldn't we download it?
It's not a pain point.
It's not a pain point? Okay, that's fine. Rental Beast, anybody try that? I don't think Rental Beast can go anywhere anyway, so it's okay. Remember last week I talked to you guys about death in the house? Can you legally, are we supposed to disclose death in the house? The new rules from Teresa say that, it's not new rules. If there was a death in the house and the seller asks you, do I have to disclose it? The seller would ask the lawyer, do I have to disclose it? And the lawyer's going to tell the seller, no, you do not. The lawyer's going to tell the seller, you do not. But under Teresa on the new rules, and actually current rules, if you, the agent, know there's death in the house, you have to disclose it. So the agent's actually, the seller's correct, you don't have to disclose it, but you as an agent have to disclose it.
Under REBA, not as per.
Under REBA and
Ontario.
under Teresa. That's, the agent doesn't know, then you don't know.
I don't know.
And it's up to the buyers. Okay, it's up to the buyers to put in the contract that the seller warrants there is no deaths or fires and anything else in the house. Now he signs that. Now he's got a problem. Right. So as a buyer's agent, it's up to you to determine whether or not those things are there. We pre-typed that already, but make sure you do it yourselves too. So Bob Aaron wrote an article here. So would you live in a house that okay? People say, do we have to disclose it? Right? Do we have to disclose it? And so Bob Aaron talked about property that somebody was murdered in the house. So would you disclose? And this particular this murder here was in 1945. Right? So would you have to disclose that? If you're an agent knew about it, you'd have to disclose it. Yeah. In this particular case, 1945, and it doesn't matter how somebody was killed. In this particular case, it's pretty gruesome though. The wife killed the husband and burned him up in the furnace. And then she didn't like the baby, one of the babies, so she put it in a concrete thing and put it into a suitcase. So let me ask you a question now. So if you aware of these things, would you want to disclose that to a buyer? Or how about if you're a buyer and you moved into this house and then you found out the house is in Hamilton? Perio wellness thing. There's a couple things coming down on November 29th, by the way. It's going to be a wild day. November 29th, we've got a bunch of things going on internally. We're going to change the phones.
Yep.
So just so you know, times have changed again. We have these phones here, and believe it or not, so guys that are phone calling for business, and you can still do it today. There's no reason why you can't, other than your own monkey on your back. But guys all the time would be on the phone calling, phoning, looking for business. Some guys would have two phones because this one rings, and ring. Whoever answers first, they hang this up and they answer that phone. Right? That happens all the time, right? And then some other guys went to triple your calls so that a computer would phone 3 calls at once. And that people are still doing that today. So just to be proactive, if you like the phone, there's a great way of earning business. But anyways, a lot of people aren't doing that nowadays. So we're switching the phones out on the 29th. They're going to go to
internet phones.
VoIP phones, internet phones. So that's one thing we're doing the 29th. The other thing on the 29th is there's a special meeting at Maria, and some outside brokers have asked for the special meeting on the Ontario Wellness Program, on that insurance program. And you got a letter from Tim Hudak saying, oh, by the way, we had the special meeting, and if they decide at the special meeting that they want to make this voluntary instead of mandatory, then they're saying that if that passes, then the whole program will disappear because it cannot be voluntary. So Treb, in the meantime, between now and the 29th, they're supposed to be sending you a survey that you can tell Treb what you think, because Treb has, I think, 40% of the vote. So it doesn't really matter what these outside brokers think. If Treb wants it, we get it.
Oh, the survey was so long. I tried to do one of the surveys and I just put an end.
They did it on purpose.
So I haven't.
After 15 minutes, I think.
So we haven't seen it yet. So if you think you can vote, so that's coming down. So you still have an opportunity to voice your opinion when Treb comes up with it, and we'll see what happens in the end.
Apparently, it's going to be very obvious when you log into Stratus. It's going to be a window that pops up. So if you have a really strong opinion about it, do it. Otherwise,
they're also doing education sessions leading up to that. I think Paige went to one today. Was it one of them? An info session? Okay. That's pretty presumptuous. Okay.
So we'll see what happens with that. If anybody, do you guys care what's going on in the States with that class action suit on the co-op commissions?
I think we care about how it affects us in Canada.
So it doesn't affect us at all right now. Just to recoup for everybody. I'm being recorded here, so what can I say?
Nothing.
Like Tony Pleasant?
No. Okay, so in the States and in Canada, they're complaining that there's collusion because we're offering 2.5% to the cooperating broker. And they're saying it's collusion because why is it that everybody's offering 2.5%? And in the States, they agreed that there is collusion, so they ruled against organized real estate, and the class action suit was apparently won. And the fee is like $1.8 billion. Luckily for Central 21 and some other guys, they decided to pay money up front rather than waiting for this ruling. So their exposure, I think, was $85 million for Central 21, $55 million for somebody else. But as soon as they won this course, then they're going after all the other brokers down there too. So they went after Home Service America, who's owned by Berkshire Hathaway. They went after him. They also went after Keller Williams, and they went after, I think those are the two big ones. And now they're going to go after companies called Compass and Redfin, which are big U.S. companies and that. And the same lawsuit's coming in Canada, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. I mean, on our co-op commissions, we already lots of guys that offer $1, lots of guys that offer 2%. All the guys offer 2.5. So basically, in the future, I'll just be going to give you $1. I'm going to offer you nothing. Offer me $1, offer me nothing. It's the same thing. All right. But the only thing you have to overcome is how is the buyer going to finance that? Because if the buyer is going to put 5% down on a property and he's got to pay the realtor 2.5%, how's that going to work? So as long as we can take that 2.5% and put it into the deal somehow that the client can finance it, then there's no problem at all. I don't see any problem.
So literally what the buyers they have to pay for it, like as a full options that in Canada or West, every buyer pays for their own agent. And actually they buyers and sellers both they pay for the agent.
Everywhere else in the rest of the world, right? Yeah.
But it's they don't charge us as a
Yeah. So whatever it is, we'll just abide by the rules, and it's not the end of the world, and we'll get paid eventually anyways. It doesn't make any difference. So it's there. In the States, by the way, they're saying it's going to take several years before this goes through the courts because they're going to appeal it and they're going to get into it. So it's not going to happen right away. So it's sort of it's a non-starter at this point. But curious, I'm curious that I was curious that they lost. I'm surprised, but they'll get into it. Okay, Teresa. Oh, just a word of caution. If you're a real estate agent, do you have any business commenting on highly political and sensitive things? No. Is there any advantage for you as an agent to have a comment about what's going on in the wars and what's going on in religion or what's going on? Like, to me, it's a death trap. I mean, when I went to school, the three things you never talk about. You never talk about religion, you never talk about sex, you never talk about what else? Politics. Right? So as a real estate agent, don't be doing that. So here's this guy here. Starts off with the word effing. And what are you doing? The guy from Remax, the first guy from Remax, remember he took a picture of Gaza with all the blown up buildings and he said real estate for sale cheap or whatever he said, but he's just so Realtron fired that guy.
Yeah.
Realtron fired that guy, and then there's another guy, Realtron again. He's going on talking about all this nasty stuff. And then this morning, another guy from Remax, same thing again, goes on and talks about it again.
And these are like private
and these
and the one today is a high profile, well-known agent.
Well, the guy today, okay, everybody knows that this guy's a semi-famous guy, Barry LeBeau. Famous guy. He's been, I don't know, was he a home inspector at one time? Appraiser. Okay, I know he's doing something, and he's also with Remax. And he goes on making again some comment, picking sides again. So it's just
And son of a Remax agent. Yeah, my buddy was celebrating his 50 years.
Wow. I don't understand what the purpose of it is. Okay, so let's go to Tressa. And today we're going to talk about representation agreements. And our hands are really tied because they They haven't given us forms yet. Still waiting for the forms. But I want to talk about the listing agreement right now. Not, not even the BRA. So
Okay.
Carly's going to hear as well. So the, you want to start it? What do you want to do?
Nope, it's your support system.
Okay. I don't know if I want to read it or just do the top of my head. So.
I think just talk.
Just talk? Okay. Everybody knows there's not going to be any customers. So well, have to be a client or not a client. And I'm not going to get involved with who to work with or not. But on the listing presentations themselves, they haven't given us the forms. They gave us the form 200. Looking at Irene here, we have the form 200, which looks just like a standard form 200, which is your listing agreement. But there has to be an amendment to that agreement. So you guys have to explain what it is you're going to be charging for. I haven't seen that yet. So as a listing agent, you're going to take the listing like you normally would. Brokers will be permitted to enter designated representative. Okay, that's another story again. So complicated.
The way that I would, so right now under REBA, you have three choices. Client, which probably 99% of you are using. You have a customer, does anyone have a customer agreement right now? I don't think so. Or they could be self-represented even today. Under TRESA, you will only have a client or self-represented. So there will be no more customer at all. So there's going to be forms.
That's the why.
Both sides. Because you can be self-represented on both sides.
So let's just talk about the listing agreement itself. So first step we're going to have, and we haven't got the forms yet. So here we go. Otherwise I'd flash a form up here, but just pretend you can see a form up there and it says the RICO information guide. RICO information guide is you have to give it to all clients. And what they're telling us to do is at open houses, you have to have these forms available in case someone wants to talk to you about that listing or talk to you about other listings in the area. So you've got to have this RICO information form. It's created by RICO and RICO will be give it to us. So we have that form itself, standard form. I don't know if they have to acknowledge or not. I don't know how you prove that you acknowledge it.
On the working as a realtor, you're going to acknowledge that you read the RICO guide.
So you got this information guide that explains about what Kari just said, what multi-representation might be, what representation is, the advantages of working with a realtor, disadvantages of working by yourself. It's just a bunch of stuff, right? Once you give them that to them, then you have to give what's called a working with a realtor, which we're doing now anyways. So we got the working with the realtor form, and that's just going to say, okay, here's your choices. You can become a self-represented person. You can represent. I can represent you. What do you want to do? They have to make a decision. And on the working with the realtor, they initial whichever representation they want. And that's what you're doing right now anyway. So that's been done. Then you've got the listing agreement itself. And the listing agreement looks very similar, but it talks a little bit more about different representations. And all the training, by the way. Has anybody looked at the training yet? From Maria, from Rico? No, just me. They're telling you reasons why they're doing this. Why you can't do this, and don't do this, and don't do that. I'm not going to get involved in that. What I want to do is here are the forms. I'm trying to boil it down to here's the form. Get this form signed. Go sell a house. That's the direction I'm going. When you have this listing agreement, it says all these things, and right now the listing agreement says that your commission will be 5%, and co-op commission will be 2.5%. That's what you do right now, right? But there has to be a schedule to this, and this is what I'm waiting for. I've been told that RICO is going to give us the schedule, but I've also been told that we have to create our own RICO, our own amendment. I'm not sure what they're doing just yet, but what we have to tell them is it's a 5% commission. It's 2.5% if I sell it to if a co-op agent brings in the buyer. If I bring my own buyer, you guys do this now, right? If I bring my own buyer, I'm going to charge you 3.5%. How do you guys do that right now? When you say those words, say if I sell it myself, I'll give you a break. I'll do it for 3.5%. Where do you put that?
You put it on the blank line.
Don't you squeeze it in on the list?
Yeah.
You put something in writing with no particular area saying that if I sell it myself, I'll do it for 3.5%.
Yeah. If they're not under contract already with us, if they're a new brand new buyer, then yeah.
That works fine, right? But what the RICO wants us to say also is what if an agent from your office sells it? What's the commission?
It's obvious to us, but now they want us to say it.
Mm-hmm. There was a company, you guys remember a company called Mincom?
Yeah.
I'd love to work for those guys. Mincom have what they call a 2.5% solution. If they sell the house themselves, they'll sell it for 2.5%. If somebody else sells it, they're going to charge 5%. What are the chances they're going to sell it themselves? But anyways, if they sold it themselves, even if it was within their office, it was 2.5%.
Oh,
So I would have to cut Elio's. Elio's going to get 2.5% from the buyer. Now he buys my listing, he's going to get paid 1.25.
And you also.
Right?
Aren't we all individual agents?
Well, no, just no. You back then you're signed with the broker, right? Not you're signed with the brokerage. Anyway, so I'm just telling you, so it's not as obvious as you might think, right? So what is it? If an agent sells from your office, what's the commission going to be? What if it's and we haven't decided yet, what if it's a designated representative? What's the commission? Designated representative, can anybody, I've talked about this a couple of times. Anybody tell me what designated representation means? Carla?
we could also just decide to not use it too. We might other brokers decide not to.
Yeah.
No, designated is when you're going to designate a group of people or a person. So if you're thinking of a team, maybe it's Meta and Kathy and everyone that's touching that client because you're now representing that client. But that agreement is with you, not the brokerage.
So right now, the way their agreements are is your name doesn't show up on an agreement. Right now, it's the brokerage, and the agreements with the brokerage. And if somebody from the brokerage wants to buy your listing, then it's multiple representation because it's broker. It's all within the same thing. But the new rules say that even though you've signed with the brokerage, you can do what's called a designated representative, which would be you. So Beal would be the designated representation for his listing, and Elio would be the designated representation for the buyer. So if Elio is going to buy that listing off Beal, it's not multi-representation because there's two representatives.
it's the same company.
Same company, but two different representations. So it's not multi-representation. And on this listing agreement, it's going to say, what if a self-represented person from your office buys it? What's the commission? You're going to put 2.5%. All right. What if it's multiple representation? What's the commission? 2.5%. What if you get your own buyer? Well, we talked about that, right? What else is in there? Oh, if you're going to do staging, do you guys say I'm going to do the staging? How do you do that? Just say I'm going to stage the property. Like how do you do it right now?
That's the most common way.
Just I'll stage the property, right? Doesn't work anymore. You must. If you're going to provide any service, must be in writing. If you're going to provide staging, it has to be on this amendment. I will provide staging. And who's going to pay for it? So it has to be in the agreement itself. If you say, I've seen people say, I'll paint your house, I'll pay for lawyers, I'll pay for mover, I'll pay for staging, and I'll charge 1% commission. Has everybody seen that one guy? The guy from Sutton Group out in the West End? Comes out once in a while, he gets the listing out here, and he's got HGTV, and he's got does this and does this, and for 1%, I think, what are you talking about, man? So in the new rules, you can't do that. He's going to have to put it in writing. What is it he's paying for?
So you can do it, but you have to outline
You can do it, but everything has to be in writing. Everything has to be in writing.
At the time of the
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think they want as much detail as
No, well,
possible.
yeah, you have to give the details. Right?
Sales strategy to let people know how much money you're also
Yes,
investing
it is to
in
protect
their
you.
listing, so they know that you're not just putting it out there trying to take exactly.
Okay, so the contents of representation agreements, this also includes BRAs. The expiry date must be displayed, we know that. The terms related to termination agreement. Okay, so this gets really heavy. We have to, in the list agreement, tell them how the agreement can be terminated. I'm going to say it can't.
Our brokerage policy is that you can
Like it's really weird. Like the communication's awful. We're going to a session on this Friday. So the way what stuff reads, it's complicated as heck. I don't want to make it complicated. But anyways, if you've got designated representative and it's you, you've decided that you're going to go on vacation for 2 months, you have to do an amendment changing from Bila to Elio. The seller doesn't want to sign that. I don't know. They sign with Bila. I'm not dealing with you. The agreement's at an end. So we have to figure out what I'm looking at Nelson here.
Well, that may be the reason why we actually are not going to promote designated representation. Correct. That may be our reason that we're going to just, as a brokerage, say everyone is brokerage represented, and we're
I haven't made that decision yet. No. I think it's what majority's rule, what the other guys are doing.
But in that case, if it's only the brokers are listing, in that case, you come in and bring the offer, and I have to charge only 2.5%, and I can charge 5%.
Yeah, but I'm sort of stuck on this one here. That if you go on vacation and the seller that says that I don't. Yeah.
Most probably you should get them signed when we're signing the listing. You should get them over there to acknowledge that might not be in vacation and doesn't give somebody else, and then we'll return automatically back when I'm back from the vacation.
Could be, yeah. So that, but there has to be some in the termination that talks about that. So I have to address that too. I just read that last night. Like, oh crap! Now I'm starting to put the things together because originally it said contracts at an end. I'm like, what do you mean at an end? What does that mean? And now I'm seeing that you have to put termination agreements. I think if one ain't going to write, just say no.
Any other questions?
Any other questions? And just because they're saying all this stuff doesn't mean that we're going to be pushed around. I'm not going to be pushed around. No way. Right? So we're not going to invest all this time and money in the guy. I'm going to cancel my agreement.
They close the entire thing. I mean, the Trav, Rico, on whatever they close it, we do our own business.
Yeah. The terms, and they use words like this, the terms should also include broker's termination right. So when you use the word should, that to me is a weasel clause. Doesn't say must or shall. Yeah. Agreement must identify circumstances in which remuneration amounts might change, what I just talked about. Yeah. What if a self-represented party buys this property? What's the commission? You everybody get those calls?
I think you should talk about.
I want to buy it through the listing agent because I'm going to get a deal. Right? Or if I buy through you, what are you going to do for the commission? Right? Nothing. Right?
You should talk about what you're allowed or how to approach a person that is self-represented and how to handle it.
So if you're reading all this stuff they're telling you, has anybody read that? That self-represented person you're not allowed to talk to? Have you guys read that? We talked about that, right? So basically what you're going to do, if you've got somebody at the open house, this would be the second form you're going to have. At the open house, you're going to have the working with the guide itself, and you're also going to have a self-represented consent, which means that you acknowledge that you're self-represented, you consent to self-representation, you understand I'm not going to give you any service, sign this piece of paper, I can assist you but not give you any service. They're going to sign that piece of paper.
And assisting is only if you're assisting them for the benefit of your own existing client, whether you're representing the listing side or the buyer side. You can only assist a self-represented person if your client is that. So you could assist them without judgment or opinions or really anything. You're showing them the house, but you have to have the client. You cannot provide opinions, advice, or they cannot rely on your skill as a real estate agent. So you could show your listings house to somebody and open the door, and that's it.
So if you have an offer, if the person wants to put an offer, do you type the offer for them, or they have to type their own offer?
You can assist them by typing out, but you can't assist them by telling them how much to put in.
And you will also indicate, if you're going to write an offer, you will indicate in the amendment that that is the service you're going to provide. That's going to be really clearly outlined.
That's right. There's schedule to the self-represented consent form, and the schedule shows what you're going to do. I'm going to type an offer for you, but I can't give you.
I will send you comparables. I will type up the offer.
You're representing your seller, you are, but
yeah, because that's for the benefit of your client. No, because you could assist them if it's benefiting of the interest of your existing client.
You're doing everything and making that you're representing yourself.
Anyway, so what I'll be doing in the future, I'm going to teach you guys the forms, how to sign the form, when to sign the form, as far as all the background and whys and hows and whatnot, so you guys can read that yourselves, right?
Like how can we help though? Like, is it helpful to hear from us? Is it helpful to see like a brick, like pictures, like images, videos of how to learn Tressa? Is it just this?
Need like a book. I need to go.
So we're working on this right now. We just have these bubbles. It's a flow chart.
These are all the forms you'll know.
This is the current flow chart. We've got how many bubbles? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8 bubbles. The new one has 29.
Yeah. And the girls will help when you need an offer typed or you have a listing. The girls will send you the package. So.
That's right. Let's get rid of carbon footprint. You know, let's just buy more paper. So here's okay. We're finished here now. So just a comment. So all this stuff going on, all the legal liabilities you guys have, all the responsibility you have, all the FinTrack and Tressa and do this, you get fined, do that, you get fined, do this. And I mean, holy crap. I mean, it's you guys are under more pressure now, or more regulations, more paperwork that as a profession. So if I'm a doctor, if I'm a lawyer, do I have the similar regulations and similar loopholes and stuff? So don't consider yourself as being different level now.
You've been targeted on.
So we've been forced to have more regulations. Therefore, we should be able to charge higher commissions because now we have more responsibilities.
Sure.
You've been targeted, and we have a lot of
Right.
enemies. Yeah.
Well, no, because the public doesn't understand what you guys do for work. They think all they think is, oh, you're paying them $20,000 commission to do what? Well, to do what? How would we stick our neck out? Because everything we do, we're gonna get fined for doing this and fined for doing that. Right. So it's a lot more complicated. And so when you're doing your profession, you're talking to your clients, you have to explain to them how complicated it is, and that's why they need to hire you to make sure that you're doing the right work. Right? What else?
The 29th. End of November is going to be a busy time.
Yeah,
Phones, forms, benefits.
Forms, benefits, all kinds of things. But it'll be fine.
Do we have a date on official realm switchover? It used to be a countdown.
February 1st.
Is it still?
Yeah.
Now I do not believe that December 1st is going to be a hard date. I can't see how they're going to give us the forms on November 29th, and we're going to teach you guys in one day, and then on the December the 1st, you're going to go out there and do everything 100% correct. Absolutely. I even got the forms myself. So all we can do is our best, and it's not a big deal. At the end of the day, you guys have to sell houses, buy and sell houses. Don't let this stuff here confuse you. It's very simple.
Years, I haven't looked at the form one that says. I have told them, okay, sign
here.
Hopefully he didn't pick up. If you're new, don't do that.
There you go.
I scratch that from the minutes. Questions?
We just said first.
February 1st. Realms, is anybody using Realm, by the way? Realm's easier, by the way. I don't find any problem with Realm. Realm I find quite simple now. Once you
Okay, we can help.
Yeah. If you have any questions, talk to us, right? But you can send listings. The biggest thing I think is the problem with Realm, the issue that you're going to have is your prospect matches.
The castle.
And you guys have to learn how to do the prospect matches in Realm. And it's not called prospect matches. It's called just save search for your client. That's all it is. You do a search, save for your client. You can then do notifications to your client. Your client can actually log in. Actually, your client has to log in to create a castle agreement and to log in there, and then the client can actually like House Sigma, they can actually go in there and check it out themselves. So you can check sold prices, for sale prices, you can check everything.
Yeah.
Set up. They don't have to be long.
Yeah. Right. That's right. Yeah.
They don't want to.
No. So what Irene's saying here is right. What I just suggested to you is when you do a prospect match, so that it sends it automatically each time. But if you want, John, if you want to send them just one-off listings, you just have to take the listings and send and put their email address in and send it like you would normally.
But I want to set them up.
But if you want to send them up, then
They have to accept it. We can show you.
Then you save it. You save as you gotta create your client, like you gotta create a contact list for your client, and then send them the invitation.
And they have to accept it, and then they'll push.
And then they have to at their end they have to accept it. So anyway, we'll sit down here. Oh man, okay, so lots of stuff going on, but it's good. I see lots of people here. That's good. So the market should be fine. Market, as I said before, is bottomed out. From this point forward, it's up, up, up. Go, go, go. Go, go, go. Lots of, hey,
I just sent out a podcast of Tressa too. Anyone wants to listen to it, if you,
Yeah, well, however you learn, listening, watching, reading, like just do what you learn. We'll give it all to you. And then Thursday, we're doing business planning with Jared here.
Jared James.
So it'll be not a recording. He's live, but he'll be on the screen.
So if you don't want to come to the office, you can join his Facebook group and watch him last.
Or watch it together.
I'm sending out an email every day about it.
so I spoke to somebody the other day and I said, okay, so one of the things you must do or want you to do or you can do for yourself is anytime we talk about all these new trainers, all the time we talk about an opportunity to take in a webinar, anytime you get a chance to see what's going on, take advantage of it. This guy, Jared James, it's the new generation, next generation. It's you got the Mike Ferries, Buffets. You know, that's one way to do it. And then you got the new gen. So have a look at those things and see what's there. We also have another program that we'll be starting. Want to talk about that later? Chris?
You talk about it. We're not for sure. You can get feedback.
Yeah, I thought you were doing.
We want to do a demo first, but we do like
Yeah.
it.
Then Chris Peter's gonna do like once a week, 16 training sessions once a week. Where I think it's an hour webinar as well. We use action items, but it's on like skill stuff that you guys.
Okay, sorry. So we've got another. So we're starting that in probably next year or this year.
This year, December. Yeah.
It's probably this year. Okay, so we're in the middle of doing something there. So it's another 16-week program we got going on as well with another speaker. Of course, we have our own program as well, Systems for Success, which you guys want to redo that again. There's lots of ways out there to get this business. Don't feel bad that the market's off. It's actually it's a good opportunity. So, and just remember what I said the very first thing I said today. So I'm not gonna repeat it, but remember, there's business out there, right? Anything else? Okay, new folks there, Idris. Got a new agent there, Idris. Hey, welcome.
And Sardona was here before.
And Sardona was here before. Well, I'll say hello again. Sardona. Hello. So if you want anybody to do open houses for you, all right? Hmm?
Come see you guys a lot, eh?
Yeah. Okay, folks. All right. So see you next week.